Welcome back, everyone, to Star Wars Abridged, and today we are going to be going through and covering Chapter 6 of Charles Soule's Light of the Jedi. Now, Light of the Jedi, as you probably know, is the first book in the High Republic series, which is canon to Star Wars. And throughout the first 5 chapters, we've really been left in a mystery. We know that something is coming, we know that there's some sort of a countdown to an impact. The Jedi are getting involved in what's happening on Hetzal Prime, so is the Republic. We really don't know where the story is heading as of right now. We don't know what this impact is going to be or what implications it will have on the future of the story. But let's go ahead and get into Chapter 6, but before we do, make sure that you are subscribed and leave a thumbs up on this video if you enjoy it. And if you're interested in checking out an abridged version of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, that will be linked at the top of this video. But let's get into Chapter 6. So, the Chapter 6 subheading tells us that we are still in the Hetzal system, but this time we're on one of the Republic Longbeam ships. If you'll remember in a couple chapters ago, I think it was the last video in this series, we were introduced to two types of ships, the Longbeams and the Vectors. The Vectors are what the Jedi used, and they could only transport 1 or 2 people. The Longbeams can transport up to 24, and they are very useful in any kind of combat or rescue situation. So this particular ship is named Aurora 9, and since we haven't seen it before, that means that we're going to be meeting a new character. Well, actually, we're going to be meeting 3 new characters in this chapter, but we will get to them in a second. So the countdown now says we are 75 minutes to impact. When the book started out, it was counting down by increments of 30 minutes, so it was like 2.5 hours to impact, 2 hours to impact, 90 minutes to impact. Now it is slowed down to 5-minute increments, so it's starting to slow down between chapters, but there's still something coming regardless. And also, we still don't know what that is. This chapter starts out with a Republic petty officer telling his captain that they need to shoot down one of the incoming unidentified objects before it kills someone or possibly even multiple people. This petty officer's name is Eneman, and he also adds that there is a problem. If they try to shoot it with their missiles, there's only a 1 in 3 chance of one of those missiles hitting it because it's moving so fast, and it reiterates that these objects are still moving at near light speed. Then we get into the mind of our point of view character, who is a fish-like, octopus-like person named Captain Bright. He's got these big dark eyes, he's got these tentacles, and he lives on a planet under the water. So Bright starts to think for a moment. He thinks about Eneman and how young he is. He thinks about the Longbeam itself, which is once again named Aurora 9. And then he thinks about how they really just need a miracle to make this work. But then, internally to himself, he states, miracles are for Jedi. So, he kind of has his doubts. He doesn't think that this is going to work, but he is going to try everything in his power to make it work. And that kind of gives a little bit of insight into Captain Bright's character. So, Bright orders Eneman to fire 6 missiles. Eneman tells Bright that 6 missiles is all they have, but Bright tells him to fire them anyway. He says this is because there is a solar array station close by with 7 people on board, and one of the incoming objects is heading directly toward it. So if it hits that solar array station, it's going to kill all 7 people. Bright says that using 6 missiles to save 7 people is completely worth it, especially since their mission is to save and help as many people as they possibly can. The next character we meet is someone named Ensign Peoples, who Bright thinks has a good sense of humor. So, we get into a little bit of what Bright thinks of Peoples, but it's not really that important right now. And in the next little paragraph, it says that Eneman fires the missiles, like Bright told him to. All 6 take off in the direction of the incoming object, like where it will meet, with each missile having a 1 in 3 chance of hitting its target. So, the missiles are fired. They're going through space. The first one unfortunately misses, then two more miss, leaving only three left. Two more miss, and now it's down to the final one. So this last little missile is racing toward its destination, and if all goes right, and they have a little bit of luck on their side, and that miracle that they need to pull off, if all of that happens, it will collide right with the unidentified object before that can hit the solar array station. But the last missile misses too. Captain Bright asks if they can use the blasters to destroy the object before it hits the station as a last-ditch effort, but the object is just moving way too fast. It would be literally impossible to hit it with blaster fire. And now Bright can see the solar array for himself. It's come into view. And he just takes a minute. He kind of knows the inevitable is about to happen. So he's looking at this station. He's admiring its sheer beauty. And he's just thinking about how important it is. It keeps the crops on Hetzal Prime alive. It helps them grow. It offers them sunlight and warmth. So that this planet, who is known for growing crops, it literally helps this planet do what it's meant to do. Its existence is of great importance to the planet and even the galaxy because Hetzal Prime exports all these crops. However, just seconds later, the solar array is completely decimated. Pieces fly off in every direction into empty space, and the central sphere, which is still actually intact, unfortunately goes up in flames. However, once again, this is showing just how his character is. Captain Bright is not going to give up. He takes Ensign Peoples and Petty Officer Inneman and tells them that there could be survivors and that they are all going to go over there and check for themselves. Bright can tell that they're scared because he is Nautolan and can sense their fear through pheromones. Even though they are scared, Peoples and Inneman agree to go on the mission. They are all the New Republic, and they will do their duty. So that wraps up Chapter 6 of Charles Soule's Light of the Jedi. This was a very short chapter, but we got introduced to three people, the main one being Captain Bright, and we got, even though this was a short chapter, we really got an insight into just kind of how his character is. We kind of learned a lot about him in such few pages. So we will be seeing more of him later. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. I hope you're enjoying the book so far. As always, if you are new here, make sure that you are subscribed and leave a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed. Thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out today. And as always, may the Force be with you.